DNA expert says latest technology could solve JonBenet Ramsey cold case murder in hours. Cease Moore, chief genetic genealogist at Paraben, shares the impact the latest technology could have in cracking the case of JonBenet Ramsey's 1996 murder. Rhode Island authorities found 30-year-old Lori Lee Malloy dead, naked, and bruised in her Providence apartment exactly 30 years ago Tuesday. Her daughter, 31-year-old Lauren Lee Malloy, is expecting more answers in her mother's case any day now as officials re-examine Lori's cause of death after the original medical examiner assigned to her case botched it and concluded that she died naturally. Any day now, we should have the results from her forensic exam, Lauren, who founded a local cold case organization called Unsolved RI, told Fox News Digital. T. Hay still had the original rape kit that was done on the original histological specimen. Everything they took from her in 1993, that's all able to be retested. And then they exhumed her remains. They're able to retest all of that as well. So, I'm just hoping that when we hear the new cause and manner of death, that the police are able to move forward with their investigation. She added that the East Providence Police Department, EPPD, is ready to act accordingly. California cold case cracked with DNA from unprovable rape case, prosecutors. Lori Lee Malloy was found dead in her Providence, Rhode Island, apartment 30 years ago on March 7, 1993. Lori Lee Malloy was found dead in her Providence, Rhode Island, apartment 30 years ago on March 7, 1993. Lauren Lee Malloy. The original police reports and witness statements in Lori's case tell a different story than her 1993 autopsy report. Sister of Colorado girl who went missing at 14 became investigator in already bungled case. At the time, Lori's boyfriend hadn't heard from her in days and asked friends and family about her. When no one knew where she was, her boyfriend went to the EPPD and asked them to conduct a welfare check. When police arrived at Lori's apartment in a multifamily home on March 7, 1993, they found a bizarre scene. When police arrived at Lori's apartment in a multifamily home on March 7, 1993, they found a bizarre scene. Lauren Lee Malloy. When police arrived at Lori's apartment in a multifamily home, they found a bizarre scene. Sarah Breland's mysterious disappearance. Husband's lawyer says case will stall if cops focus on him. When I first saw the door to the third-floor apartment, I noticed the door was slightly open. I knocked on the door and said hello, asking if anyone was in there, and at the time I could hear the sound of water running from a faucet somewhere in the house. I got no answer to my call and I walked into the house, a police officer wrote in a report dated March 7, 1993. As we got closer to the bathroom, we could see a person's head on the floor on the doorway to the bathroom. Investigators found small tufts of hair throughout Lori's apartment and hair wrapped around her left hand and foot. The refrigerator in her kitchen was stocked full of food but unplugged, and there were 2 empty glasses on a table. Investigators found small tufts of hair throughout Lori's apartment and hair wrapped around her left hand and foot. The refrigerator in her kitchen was stocked full of food but unplugged, and there were 2 empty glasses on a table. Lauren Lee Malloy. Lori was lying naked and obviously expired on the floor of her bathroom with slices of bread all around her, according to the officer. The sink in the bathroom was still running. Investigators also found small tufts of hair throughout the apartment and hair wrapped around Lori's left hand and foot. The refrigerator in her kitchen was stocked full of food but unplugged, and there were 2 empty glasses on a table. Authorities ruled Lori's death a homicide based on their preliminary investigation, but medical examiner Dr. F. John Krolikovsky said she had died of natural causes due to cardiomyopathy, a type of heart muscle disease that can lead to heart failure. The autopsy report states that Lori had a history of cocaine use and took medication for schizophrenia. Lauren Malloy is skeptical that drugs played a role in her mother's death. Lauren Malloy is skeptical that drugs played a role in her mother's death. Lauren Lee Malloy. Lauren is skeptical that drugs played a role in her mother's death. Vermont cold case murder suspect fled country, became monk after strangling woman. You hear about you have to be the right kind of victim to get attention, she said. My whole point is, she was a woman. She was a mother. She was a sister, a daughter. And she died. And we don't have answers. I don't care if she smoked weed or did coke in her life. It's not an excuse for her to not have her justice. Krolikovsky later had his medical examiner licenses revoked in Massachusetts and Rhode Island due to his inaccurate autopsy reports. Rhode Island investigators exhumed Lori Lee Malloy's body in February. Rhode Island investigators exhumed Lori Lee Malloy's body in February. Lauren Lee Malloy. When Lauren Malloy began looking into her mother's death, she turned to other experts for help. Dr. Zongxiu Hua, an independent pathologist, concluded that the autopsy report was unlikely to be correct and urged police to investigate and/or re-investigate her mother's case. Listen, the Fox True Crime podcast with Emily Compagno. A year later, after pleading with local and state government officials for help in reopening the case, Lori's body was exhumed in February for a forensic evaluation. Lauren is expecting a new cause and manner of death for her mother any day now. Lauren is expecting a new cause and manner of death for her mother any day now. Lauren is expecting a new cause and manner of death for her mother any day now. Lauren Lee Malloy. The Rhode Island Attorney General's office, which is handling press inquiries related to the case, could not share an exact date for when the results will be released because their investigation is ongoing and the office is limited in what it can share at this time, a spokesperson said. Lauren said she is going into the new investigation with no expectations. I have learned to just let the evidence lead the way, especially with it being my mom's case. Obviously, I have my own bias and prejudices, but I do think because of the amount of visibility and support that my mom's case is getting that the state is now doing a really excellent job of making sure no stone is left unturned. Audrey Conklin is a digital reporter for Fox News Digital and Fox Business. Email tips to audrey.conklin@fox.com or on Twitter @auditpants.